in the whole history of the world. They lied and stole and smoked cigars, even the girls, and talked dirty and hit little kids and cussed their teachers and took the Lord's name in vain, and even set fire to Fred Shoemaker's old broken down tool house.
Tool house burned right down to the ground, and I think that surprised the Herdmans. They set fire to things all the time, but I think that was the first time they set fire to a whole building.
I guess it was an accident. I mean, I don't think they woke up that morning and went, hey, let's go burn down Fred Shoemaker's tool house.
But maybe they did. After all, it was a Saturday and not much was going on.
It was a terrifying fire. 2 engines, 2 police cars, all the volunteer firemen, and 5 dozen donuts sent up from the Tasty Lunch Diner. The donuts were supposed to be for the firemen, but by the time they got the fire out, the donuts were all gone.
The Herdmans got them. What they couldn't eat, they shoved down their pockets and down the front of their shirts. You could actually see the donuts all around Ollie Herdman's middle.
I couldn't understand why the Herdmans were hanging around the scene of the crime. Everybody knew the whole thing was their fault, and you'd think they'd have the brains to get out of sight.
I even asked Claude, did you kids start this fire smoking cigars in the tool house? Claude just said, we weren't smoking cigars.
And they weren't. They were playing with Leroy Herdman's young Einstein chemistry set, which they stole from the hardware store. And that was how they started the fire.
Any other kid, even a mean kid, would have been a little bit worried if he stole $14.95 worth of something and then burned down a building with it. But Leroy was just mad because the chemistry set got burned up along with everything else before he had a chance to make 1 or 2 wrongs.
The firemen gathered us all around and gave us a little talk about playing with matches and gasoline and other things like that.
I won't say that's what happened, but I don't know what happened. That could have been it. You kids saw the result. So let this be a lesson to you boys and girls.
Of course, it was a great lesson to the Herdmans. They learned that wherever there's a fire, there'll be donuts sooner or later.
And they wrote this really, really dirty word on the back of Naomi Waddell's favorite turtle. So now Naomi can't take it to the YMCA pet show. Her mother won't let her.
What was the word?
Oh! And that's not all. They did it with fluorescent paint, so it glows in the dark. When you can't even see the turtle, you can still see the word.
And there's more.
Were other people... Where other people had grass in their front yard, the Herdmans had rocks. And where other people had hydrangea bushes, the Herdmans had poison ivy. There was also a sign in the yard that said, beware of cat.
New kids always laughed when they got a look at the cat. It was the meanest looking animal I ever saw. It had 1 short leg and a broken tail and a missing eye. And the mailman wouldn't deliver anything to the Herdmans because of it. It would attack anything it could see out of its 1 eye.
One day, Claude Herdman cleared the whole first grade in 3 minutes flat when he took the cat to show and tell. He didn't feed it for like 2 whole days, and he brought it to school in a box, so he was already mad, and when he opened the box, the cat shot out like 3 feet in the air.
Four big long scratches all the way down, and then just tore around all over the place, scratching the bouquets and shredding books and papers everywhere.
Miss Brandon got up for everybody around in the hall. She grabbed a broom, pulled a coat over her head, and tried to corner the cat.
But of course she couldn't see with the coat over her head, so she just ran up and down the aisle, smacking the ground whenever the cat hits back.
She knocked over the Happy Family dollhouse and the globe of the world and broke an aquarium full of about 20 gallons of water and 65 goldfish.
The cat settled down a little bit once it got something to eat. Most of the goldfish and Ramona Billion's 2 pet mice that she brought for show and tell. Ramona cried and carried on so, I can't even bury them, that they sent her home. And that's not all. There are 6 of them. Ralph, Imogene, Leroy, Claude, Ollie, and Gladys. And they went through the Woodrow Wilson School, like those South American fish that strip your bones clean. And they went around the town the same way, stealing things and tearing things up and whamming kids. I was always in the same grade as Imogene Herdman. What I did was stay out of her way. It wasn't easy to stay out of her way. You couldn't do it if you were very pretty, or very ugly, or very smart, or very dumb, or anything unusual about you, like red hair or double-jointed thumbs. For everyone, it was hard to get away from the Herdmans. There's only one safe place.
Hour of prayer, sweet hour of prayer, because there are no Herdmans there. Jesus loves us, as they say, because he keeps them miles away.
That's my little brother, Charlie. And that's what he said when the Sunday school teacher asked what was his favorite thing about church. Everybody else had nice answers.
What I like best about Sunday school is the great feeling I get when I go there.
I like hearing all the Bible stories. I like hearing the lesson.
I like learning songs about Jesus.
Well, my favorite thing about Sunday school is that there aren't any Herdmans there. Ever.
The teacher was mad, but good old Charlie told the real truth. No Herdmans.
Well, I don't care what everybody else said. That's what they really thought. But the main good thing about church is that there aren't any Herdmans there. Ever.
It doesn't seem like a very Christian statement, if you ask me.
It's a very practical statement. Charlie was all about the blue last year because he had to stand next to Leroy at opening school.
Is he the worst one? Leroy?
They're all the worst one.
Ralph's the biggest. So if Ralph gets you,
But that doesn't make any difference. Gladys isn't very big, but she's mean, and she's fast, and she bites.
Sorry, I understand. Just stay away from all of them.
That's what I said. Stay away from them. Go to church. Why?
No arguments this year about the Christmas pageant.
But I don't want to be a shepherd again.
Then tell Mrs. Armstrong what to be a wise man.
And I don't want to be in it.
Everybody's in it. Think how I feel sitting there on Christmas Eve if my own children were in the Christmas pageant. Think how your father would feel. You'd feel terrible, wouldn't you, Bob?
Well, actually, I did plan to go. You know how crowded it always is. They can use my seat. I was probably just sitting home in my bathrobe. Relax. Besides, there's never anything new about the Christmas pageant.
There's going to be something different this year.
What?
Charlie's going to wear your bathrobe.
It's not that up, Grace.
why don't you be Joseph? Elmer Hopkins will pay you $1 to be Joseph. Elmer's sick of being Joseph every year just because his father's a minister. Nobody wants to be Joseph.
Nobody wants to be in it.
Well, what are you going to do this year?
I'm always in the angel choir.
Why can't Charlie be the angel choir?
Because I can't sing.
Well, I've heard in the past that isn't a serious drawback. A white angel always sounds like a closet full of mice.
Well,
that George Armstrong's wife?
Yes.
Well, maybe she'll try to manage the hospital, because that's where she's at. I saw George in the drugstore. He said that his wife slipped and broke her leg this morning. She'll be in traction for at least a week and laid up till the first of the year.
The first of the year? They're going to have to cancel Christmas.
She's in charge of Christmas?
She's in charge of the pageant, and she's in charge of the bazaar. I feel sorry for Helen. Who's going to do all of those things?
Yes, I'll take over the bazaar, Edna, if you take over the potluck supper. I don't know what in the world we'll do about the pageant. Unless, how about Grace?
I just can't, Edna. I've got company all Christmas week. How about Grace?
My daughter has a piano recital that evening, and I just won't miss it. How about Grace? Hello? Grace?
Bob,
Yes.
I have to direct the Christmas pageant.
Does that mean I have to go?
Our Christmas pageant is in what you'd call four-star entertainment. Mrs. Armstrong breaking her leg was the only unexpected thing that ever happened to it. It's always the same old Christmas story and the same old carols and the same old Mary and Joseph, and that's what my mother was stuck with. That and Mrs. Armstrong.
Tell you again, Grace, how important it is to give everyone a chance. Here's what I do. I always start with Mary, and I tell them we must choose our Mary carefully, because Mary was the mother of Jesus.
I know that, Helen.
And then I tell them about Joseph and how he was God's choice to be Jesus' father. Frankly, I don't spend much time on Joseph, because it's always Elmer Hopkins, and he knows everything about Mary and Joseph.
I thought Miss Armstrong was attraction.
What do you think traction is?
Like when they put you to sleep?
No such luck. Beth, we need salt and pepper and napkins.
And then I tell them about the wise men and the shepherds, and I tell them there are no small parts, only small actors. And remind the baby angels not to stare at the audience or wear earrings and things like that. And don't let them wear clunky shoes or high heels. I hope you just don't have too many of them, Grace, because they'll be your biggest problem.
You will save some for the rest of us, won't you, Charlie?
I'm hungry. Lever and Herman stole my lunch again.
How can you let him do that to you day after day?
How can I stop him? Where's the chicken?
Grace, where's the chicken?
It's in the oven.
Okay.
You'll have to get someone to push the baby angels along. Bob could do that. He could watch the shepherds too. Oh, and Grace, one more thing about the angel choir. Don't let them wear lipstick. They think it's the play.
Helen, there's someone at my door. I'll talk to you later.
That they have to wear lipstick, and it looks terrible, so don't let them.
Someone at my door, Helen. I have to go. Yes, I'm coming.
Woman, will you give me some supper? I need a square meal in 3 minutes.
Oh, for heaven's sake, it's you.
I was awful lonely at the table.
I guess Helen feels lonely at the hospital.
Not as long as the telephones work.
Well, I bet she told you about no small parts, only small actors.
And getting someone to shove the baby angels on, make the shepherd shut up.
Yes, she suggested your father.
Does that mean I have to go?
Oh, and Grace, don't get just anybody's baby for Jesus. Get a quiet one. Better yet, get two if you can. That way if one's fussy, you can switch them out.
My mother didn't pay much attention to Mrs. Armstrong. She said Mrs. Armstrong was stuck in the hospital with nothing better to do but think up problems, and there weren't going to be any problems. Of course, Mother didn't count on the Herdmans. That was Charlie's fault.
Hey, Leroy, you give me back my lunch.
Sure, kid, here.
You stole my dessert again. How do you know? Because it isn't in here.
What was it?
2 Twinkies.
That's right. That's what it was.
You know what? You think it's so great to steal my dessert? And I don't even care. I'll even give you my dessert. Because I get all the dessert I want at Sunday school.
Oh, yeah? What kind of dessert?
All kinds, like chocolate cake, and pudding.
You're alive.
Twinkies, big wheels.
Who gives it to you?
The minister?
Why? Is he crazy?
No, I think he's rich.
Sunday school, huh?
That was the wrong thing to tell hermits. And sure enough, the very next Sunday, there they were in Sunday school, just in time to hear about the Christmas pageant.
They didn't sing any hymns or say any prayers, but they did make a little bit of money because I saw Imogene Herman stick a handful of coins out of the collection basket when it went past her.
What's a pageant?
It's a play.
Like on TV? What's it about?
It's about Jesus.
Everything here is.
And it's about Mary. Mostly, it's about Mary.
Who's Mary?
I am. Well, I probably am. I know the part.
Come on, Beth. Charlie, you and David come. This won't take very long if you all settle down. Today we will decide who should play the main roles in our Christmas pageant. But of course, everyone will have an important part to play. You know what Mrs. Armstrong always tells you. There are no small parts, only small actors. Isn't that what Mrs. Armstrong always says?
That's what she always says, but she never says what it means.
Don't you know what it means? I know what it means. It means that the short kids have to be in the front row of the angel choir, or else nobody else can see them.
Well, not exactly. It really means the littlest baby angel is just as important as Mary.
I don't think anyone is as important as Mary. Well, naturally, that's what you think, Alex. I think Jesus is more important.
Well, I still think it means the short kids have to be in the front row.
Girls, everyone is important. Mary, Jesus, and the short kids. Now, is everyone here? Hey, Beverly, will you go in the hall and see if anyone else is coming? Now, the little children will be your angels, so please remind your mothers that you'll need bed sheets. And people in the angel choir will need bed sheets too. Oh, and if any of you have old bathrobes at home, then what's the matter? Let's make some room there for the Herdmans. Now, what happened to Beverly?
I think she went home. I think she got sick.
Did she say she was sick?
She just left. All I said was, "Hi, Beverly," and she left.
I see. Well, will someone please remind Beverly about our rehearsals? The next 4 Wednesdays after school. Plan to be here for everyone.
What if we get sick?
You won't get sick. Of course, Mary and Joseph must absolutely come to every rehearsal.
What if they get sick?
They won't get sick either, Elmer.
Well, if Beverly got sick, we haven't even started yet.
We don't know that Beverly got sick. Now, I want you all to think about Mary. We all know what kind of person Mary was. She was kind and quiet and gentle, and the girl who plays Mary should try to be that kind of person. Who would like to volunteer for that part? Did you have a question, Imogene?
No, I want to be Mary. And Ralph, he wants to be Joseph.
Yeah, right.
Oh. Well, I'll just make a list of volunteers, then we'll all decide who it should be. Ralph Herdman. Now, who else would like to be Joseph? Did I see you raise your hand, Elmer?
No.
Just raise your hands, please. Any of you volunteers, any of you shepherds? Very well. Ralph Herdman will be our Joseph. Now, Imogene has volunteered to be Mary. I'll just write that down. What other names can I add to my list? Janet,
Roberta? Alice, don't you want to volunteer?
No, I don't want to.
I'll be there.
Shut up, Gladys. I'm already married. You be a wise man.
Well, the wise men are usually boys. Of course, they don't have to be, and I guess we could.
I'll be a wise man.
Me too. Claude, you want to be a wise man? Raise your hand.
What's a wise man?
Just raise your hand.
What's left to be?
Some angel.
I'll be that. What is it?
It's the angel of the Lord who visits the shepherds. There, we do have some volunteers after all. Hobie, would you like to be a wise man?
No, I just want to say I can't be a shepherd. We're going to Philadelphia.
Why didn't you say so before?
I just remembered.
My mother doesn't want me to be a shepherd.
Why not?
I don't know. She just said, don't be a shepherd.
Oh, I'm not going to be a shepherd.
Oh, yes, you are. What is the matter with all of you?
I don't want to be a shepherd. Gladys Herman hits too hard.
Gladys isn't going to hit anybody. The angel of the Lord just visits the shepherds in the fields and tells them that Jesus is Lord.
And hits them?
Elmer, that's ridiculous, and I don't want to hear another word about it from anyone. No shepherds may quit or get sick. And that's all for today, boys and girls, and you can go. But I expect to see everyone here on Wednesday at 6:30. Alice, what in the world is wrong with you? Why didn't you raise your hand?
I don't know.
You don't know, Alice? I expected you to volunteer. Don't you want to be married?
Oh, come on, Alice. I don't know. I didn't dare raise my hand. Imogene would have killed me. She said, I'm going to be marrying this play, and if you open your mouth or raise your hand, you'll wish you hadn't. And then I said, I'm always married in the Christmas pageant. But then she said, go ahead then, and next spring when the pussy willows come out, I'll be sure to stick a pussy willow so far down your ear that nobody can reach it. And it'll sprout there and grow, and you'll spend the rest of your life with a pussy willow bush growing out of your ear. You know she wouldn't do that. She would too. Herdmans would do anything, and you just watch. They're gonna do something terrible and ruin the whole pageant, and it's all your mother's fault.
Alice Whittlekin had a good reason to be scared of Imogene Herdman. Alice Whittlekin was so nasty clean, she did turning hands by the time she was just 4 years old. Just the same, Alice caught a case of head lice when she was at summer camp, and somehow Imogene found out about it. She would sneak upon her at recess and holler, "Cooties!" and smack Alice's head. She nearly knocked Alice cross-eyed before one teacher saw her and took them both into the principal.
Now what's all this about? I had to hit her. She's got cooties, and I saw one crawling on her. I didn't want to get them on me. You did not see one. I don't have them anymore.
What do you mean you don't have them anymore? Have you had them lately?
The nurse went through Alice's hair with a fine-tooth comb and magnifying glass, and finally said it was all right. But it was too late. Everybody called Alice cooties the whole rest of the year.
Jane, Edna McCarthy, did you hear about well, it must be Grace's fault somehow. How else would the 6 of them end up in the Christmas pageant when they ought to be in jail?
Vera, look, I just heard that Imogene Herman's going to marry in the Christmas pageant, and is that true? All 6 of them? Vera, I live next door to that outfit, and I'd rather live next door to a zoo. Has Grace gone crazy?
Where did they come from? Who let them in? Imogene Herdman? What kind of child is that to be married? The mother of Jesus? Where was Reverend Hopkins, I'd like to know? He was what? Visiting Shuttons? Well, I'm a Shutton, and he wasn't visiting me.
I said, why don't you let them hand out programs at the door? But Grace said we don't have programs for the pageant. But I said,
Better nail down the church and lock up the silver service and hide the collection plates before they clean them out.
What was the matter with Grace? Couldn't she have sent them away? Tell them to go home or something? Oh, I feel responsible. If I'd been up and around, this never would have happened.
around, this never would have happened. Well, let me tell you.
Don't tell me. I'm on your side. The car's over there.
Helen Armstrong is not the only one alive who can direct a Christmas pageant. I made up my mind to do the very best I could under the circumstances, but now I'm going to make this the best Christmas pageant ever, and I'm going to do it with the Hibners. After all, they raised their hands and no one else did, and I don't even care.
Good for you, Grace. The car's over there.
And you're going to help me.
Does that mean...
You have to go.
Where'd all the shepherds come from, anyway?
What's it in?
Just like a motel. Where people go to spend the night.
What people? Jesus? Oh, honestly, Jesus wasn't even born yet. Mary and Joseph went there.
Why?
To pay their taxes.
At a motel? Shut up, Ollie. Everybody shut up. I want to hear her. Begin at the beginning.
The beginning?
The beginning of the play. What happens first?
Imogen, this is the Christmas story from the Bible. Haven't you ever heard the Christmas story from the Bible? Well, that's what this Christmas pageant is, so I'd better read it to you.
I don't believe that. Do you? They've never heard the Christmas story?
Why not? They never even heard of the Bible in their whole lives. And they never would have even came to church if it hadn't been for your dumb brother. Now we have to waste all this time for nothing.
All right now. For women decreed from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And Joseph went up from Galilee with Mary, his wife, being great with child.
Pregnant. She was pregnant.
All right now. We all know that Mary was pregnant. And it came to pass that while they were there, that the days had been accomplished, that Mary should be delivered, and she brought forth her firstborn son.
I don't think it's very nice to say Mary was pregnant.
Well, she was.
I don't think your mother should say Mary was pregnant. It's better to say great with child. I'm not supposed to talk about people being pregnant, especially in church.
And wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for him in the inn.
Gosh dang, they didn't have room for Jesus.
Well, no one knew that baby was going to be Jesus.
Didn't Mary know? Didn't he know? What was the matter with that Joseph anyways that he didn't tell him Mary being pregnant and all?
What's a manger? Some kind of bed?
There was no bed in the barn, so Mary had to use whatever there was. What would you do if you had a baby, but no bed to put the baby in?
We put Gladys in the dresser drawer.
Well, there you have it. You didn't have a bed for Gladys, so you had to use something else.
Oh, we had a bed. Only Ollie was still in it, and he wouldn't get out. He didn't like Gladys very much. Hey, Ollie, hey, you know why you didn't like Gladys?
Yes. That was pretty smart, Ollie, not to like Gladys right off the bat.
Anyway, a manger's a large one of feeding trough for animals.
What were the wadded up clothes?
The what?
It said in there that she wrapped them up in wadded up clothes.
Swaddling clothes. People used to wrap babies up very tightly in large pieces of material to make them feel all cozy.
You mean they tied him up and put him in a feed box? Where was the child welfare?
The child was out of house every 5 minutes.
There wasn't any child welfare in Bethlehem.
I'd say there wasn't.
There were shepherds, keeping watch for flocks by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of
Shazam!
What did you talk? What?
Out of the black night, with horrible visions, the mighty Largo!
I don't know what you're talking about, Gladys.
The mighty Largo! In Amazing Comics, out of the black night, with horrible visions.
No, this is the angel of the Lord, who visits the shepherds.
Out of nowhere, right? In the black night, right?
Well,
spices and precious oils.
Oil? What kind of present is oil? We get better presents from the welfare.
Were they the welfare? The wise men?
No, they were kings, and they were sent.
Well, it's about time somebody important showed up. If they're kings, they can get the baby out of there and tell the innkeeper where to get off.
They were sent by Herod, who was, well, Herod was the main king. He was out to find Jesus and have him put to death.
Gosh dang, he was just born and they're gonna kill a baby?
Who is Harry in this play?
No, Herod isn't in the play.
He's out to kill the baby, and he isn't even in the play?
Well, somebody better be Herod. Charlie! Go give me that baby! And I say okay because he's the king and all.
They go back and get Herod. I'm going to be Herod.
No one is going to be Herod.
No, Joseph gets his shepherd together, they go wipe out Herod.
See, if I Herod in the play, then it's going to be me and I'm going to get killed.
Forget about Herod. They're right about Herod. And I'm going to wipe the baby till the fight's over.
So we have appreciation. Hey, wow.
Well, I wouldn't just hang around at the barn. I'd go get a room.
She said there wasn't any room.
Well, I tell them I've got a baby and it's in the middle of winter. So either get over or move over.
I'd go after her like Harry.
I would send the angel after her. She could just point her electric finger at him and turn him into a pile of ash.
Yeah, Zach.
What's the name of this play anyway? She never said.
Christmas pageant.
That's no name. That's what it is.
I know a name. I know a name. I call it Revenge at Bethlehem.
Revenge at Bethlehem. The Herdmans thought the Christmas story came right out of the FBI files. They got so involved in it. Why the bloody into Herod were about Mary having her baby in a barn and called the wise men a bunch of dirty spies. And they left the first rehearsal arguing about whether Joseph should have set fire to the inn or chased the innkeeper into the next county.
The next day, Imogen grabbed me at recess and asked me more about Herod.
What happened to Herod anyway?
I don't know. Look him up in the library if you want to know so bad.
How do you get a book out of the library?
You have to have a card.
How do you get a card?
You have to sign your name.
Do you have to sign your own name?
Sure, you have to sign your own name. They have to know who has the books. I didn't think Mrs. Gravener was going to let the Herdmans take any books out of the public library, but I guess she couldn't stop them, because that is where they found out about Herod.
Now, why do you all want a library card?
We want to learn about Jesus.
Not Jesus. That king who was out to get Jesus, you know? Herod.
Later on, Mrs. Claudine told my mother she had been librarian for 38 years and loved every minute of it, because every day brought something new and different.
But now I might as well retire. When Imogen Herdman came in and told me that she wanted to read about Jesus, I knew I'd heard everything there was to hear.
At least they picked out the right villain. It was Herod they wanted to gang up on, and not the baby Jesus. But the baby Jesus quit the pageant anyway. It was supposed to be Eugene Slocum, but Mrs. Slocum said she wasn't going to let Imogen Herdman get her hands on him. So we didn't have a baby Jesus, and I think that bothered Mrs. Bradley. She kept trying to scratch up a baby, even at the last rehearsal.
What do you keep writing in that book? It's like a diary. It is not. It's all about the Herdmans. Imogen curses and swears the whole time. Ralph talks about sexy things. Mrs. Bradley
Mrs. Bradley called Mary pregnant? Glass Herman drinks communion wine? It isn't wine. It's grape juice.
I don't care what it is. She drinks it. I've seen her 3 times with her mouth all purple. They steal, too. If you shake the birthday cake, it doesn't even make any noise because they stole all the pennies out of it. And every time you go into the girls' bathroom, the whole air is blue. And Imogene Herdman is sitting there in the Mary costume, smoking cigars.
And you wrote all this down? What for?
For my mother, and Reverend Hopkins, and the Ladies' Aid Society, and anybody else who wants to know what happens when this whole pageant turns out to be a big mess.
Okay, girls, take your seats. Now, today is our last rehearsal, and we're going to...
Grace, I just wanted to let you know that we're all back in the kitchen making applesauce cake.
We'll try not to bother you. I guess this is your dress rehearsal?
It's supposed to be. Oh, and didn't I hear that your niece had a new baby a month or so ago? A little girl?
Yes, she's 5 weeks old.
Well, I wonder how it'd be if I were to call up your niece and ask if we could borrow.
Grace, no. I could make up some lie and tell your baby's sick or cranky or something. But the truth is that she's perfectly healthy and happy and beautiful. We don't want her to stay that way. So we're certainly not going to hand her over to Imogene Herdman. Sorry,
Mrs. Bradley, you can have my little brother for Jesus.
I didn't know you had a new baby, David.
He is not new. He's 4 years old, but he's double jointed and he could probably scrunch up.
Well, I don't think I can get us a baby. How can you do that?
Well, there's always 2 or 3 babies out in the strollers in the park. I can get one of them.
Image, you can't just walk off with someone's baby. It's okay. Forget about the baby. Just use the doll.
Yeah, that's better anyways. A dog can't bite you.
And Imogene, you know that you're going to wear earrings.
I have to wear these. I just got my ears pierced, and if I take them out, they're going to grow together.
They won't grow together in an hour and a half. Who pierced your ears?
Gladys.
I bet she did it with an ice pick. I'll bet her ears turn black and fall off.
Ew. We'll just have to find something smaller. Is that your costume? Is that what you're going to wear? You're all supposed to have your costumes on today.
I can't find my halo. Janet's got my robe. My mom doesn't have any white bed sheets. Can I wear bed sheets with balloons on them?
I haven't got a costume. I was never a shepherd before.
Well, you have to wear your father's bathrobe. That's what I have to.
He hasn't got one.
Well, what does he hang around the house in?
His underwear.
Okay, just pretend that you're wearing your costumes.
Are we going through the whole thing?
Of course! But first of all, just the entrances. So go to where you're supposed to be, and we'll start with the shepherds. Just read the last few lines, Maxine.
Shepherds keeping watch over their flocks by night.
Music, shepherds.
When an angel of the Lord appeared to them, and
No, Gladys.
Out of the black night?
No.
Fine.
Go on, Maxine.
a multitude of the heavenly host,
Music, angels. Music, wise men.
I got a baby! He's right here. Nobody touch him. I named him Jesus!
No, Imogene, you don't say anything. Mary and Joseph make a lovely picture when we think of Christmas and what it truly means. Now put the doll back.
I don't get to say anything. Some angel tells me what to call the
She said, his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace.
Gosh dang, he'd never get out of the first grade if he had to write all that. Give me my baby!
5 minutes, Maxine. 5 minutes.
We never did start over, and we never did go through the whole thing. 5 minutes turned to 15 minutes, and Imogene Herdman spent the whole time smoking cigars in the ladies' room. Then Mrs. McCarthy went to the ladies' room, and she saw all the smoke, and she called the fire department. And they came right away. Fire! There's a fire! Everybody out of the building carried a fire hose through the church, looking for a fire put out. The only one they found was in the kitchen. All the applesauce cake burned up. Of course, all the ladies were mad about that. And Mrs. McCarthy was mad, and my mother was mad.
Why in the world did you call the fire department about a little smoke?
It was a lot of smoke. The ladies' room was full of thick smoke.
It couldn't have been. You just got excited. And now look. The church is full of firemen, and the streets are full of baby angels crying, and shepherds are climbing all over the fire trucks in half the neighborhood. Didn't you know it was just cigar smoke?
No, I didn't know it was cigar smoke. I would expect to find cigar smoke in the ladies' room of the church!
Alice Windlekin's mother was mad too, and the whole Ladies' Aid Society was mad, and Reverend Hopkins said he didn't know what to think.
I've been on the telephone all day. I cannot make heads or tails of this. Some people said they set fire to the kitchen. Some people said they set fire to the ladies' room. Verna Weldington said all they do is talk about sex and underwear.
That was Hobie Clark talking about underwear, and they didn't set fire to anything. The only fire was in the kitchen where the applesauce cake burned up.
Well, the whole church is in an uproar. I don't know. I mean, Jesus did say, "Come unto me, the children," but Grace, I really don't think he was talking about the Herdmans. Don't you think we should cancel the pageant?
I'll bet that was Helen Armstrong's idea.
You can blame it on the fire. Makes a good excuse.
I'll bet that was Evan McCarthy's idea.
But Grace, everyone thinks it's gonna be a
disaster? Well, they're wrong. This is going to be the best Christmas pageant we've ever had.
Grace, I really don't think anyone's gonna come and see it.
I didn't think so either, and neither did Charlie. But we were wrong. On Christmas Eve, the church was jam full. Everybody came to see what the Herdmans would do.
Let's get the lights out. Now, watch your step.
I can't see a thing. I don't know what in the world you expect to do with this thing.
I thought it might look like a palm tree. I see now that it doesn't. Oh, I don't have any idea what's going to happen tonight. We've never once gone through the whole play, and the Herdmans still think it's some kind of spy story. This may be the only Christmas pageant in history where Joseph and the wise men get in a fight and Mary runs off with the baby. Now, where are the kids?
All the kids in the world are downstairs putting on bed sheets.
I mean our kids.
We're here.
Go get your costumes on, it's getting late.
It's going to be awful, you know. They look like trick or treat or something. All dirty and fastened together with safety pins and wearing their moldy old sneakers. Mary and Joseph, I mean, they look like refugees or something.
Well, that's what they were. Mary and Joseph, they were refugees in a way. They were a long way from home, didn't know anybody, didn't have anywhere to stay. They were probably cold, tired, hungry, and messy.
Well, I don't know about cold and hungry, but they sure are messy.
Do you think I
I
should?
think you think too much. Now, I'm going to push Baby Angel on stage. And then I'm going to hand the shepherd's crooks and push them on stage. When do I do all that?
Just follow the script.
Baby angels, wise men, shepherds. Doesn't seem to say here where the fire engines come in. I'm just kidding.
Is everyone here? Beth, I want you and Alice up front where you can help the little kids.
Okay.
Gladys, where's your halo?
Our cat's very good. Listen, I think I ought to say something besides the baby came. Why would they all get up and tap for some baby they don't even know? I ought to tell them Jesus, and I ought to tell them I know where he is.
No, Gladys, you tell them, unto you a child is born. And that's all you tell them. Now, let's all go backstage and try to be quiet while people are coming.
And good luck. Mrs. Rapley, actors don't say good luck. They say break a leg.
I know that, Alice, but in this case, I don't think... For those of you who don't know, this is just a theatrical saying. It doesn't really mean break your or anyone else's leg. Imogene, that is a baby. And for tonight away, it's the baby Jesus.
In the days of Caesar Augustus, there went out a decree that all the world should be taxed. And Joseph went into Bethlehem with Mary, his wife, who was great with child. And while they were there, she gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. Watch over their flocks by night. And an angel of the Lord appeared to them. An angel of the Lord appeared to them. The glory of the Lord shone round about, and they were sore afraid. When an angel of the Lord appeared to them and said, "Be up."
Hey! I tell you, a child is born! It's Jesus! And he's not born! He's over there! Come on! Over here! Come on!
And there was a multitude of the heavenly host saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace among men."
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Gloria in excelsis Deo.
There came wise men from the east too, bringing gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
We three kings of Orient are, bearing this we travel so far, field and fountain, moor and mountain, following young.
It's a ham!
A ham? I'll bet they stole it.
No, I think it's the ham from their welfare baskets.
They must hate him.
a dream that they should not return to their country, the wise men departed another way. The shepherds also departed, praising God for all that they had seen and heard. But Mary kept all these things and pondered them in her heart.
Usually, by the time I got to Silent Night, I was tired and ready for the whole thing to be over. But not this time. This time, I almost wish we could play on with the Hermans and Chart to see what else they did differently.
Maybe the wise men would tell Mary about what Paul prepared, and she would tell them to go back and lie their heads off. Or Joseph might go with them and get rid of Herod once and for all. Or Joseph and Mary might ask the wise men to take the Christ child, figuring out what
We started to sing Silent Night, just like always. When we were about halfway through, I happened to look at Imogene, and I almost dropped my hymn book. Everybody had been waiting all this time for the Herdmans to do something absolutely unexpected. And sure enough, that was what happened. Imogene Herdman was crying.
In the candlelight, her face was all shiny with tears, and she didn't even bother to wipe them away. She just sat there, poor old Imogene, crying and crying.
Beth, look, Mary's crying. Mrs. Bradley, Mary's crying.
It was the best Christmas pageant we ever had.
Could you believe that was Imogene Herdman? And the rest of them? This was the best Christmas pageant we've ever had, and I'm not sure why, but I think it was them. Could that be?
Oh, I always get a little weepy about the pageant. Something about the carols and the Christmas. Just everything about it. It was so great. But it should have been the worst one.
There was just something different.
The angel of the Lord was different.
Yes, but you know, I liked that. Had lots of spirit. Sometimes you can't even hear the angel of the Lord. I must find Grace and tell her.
I just wish I would have let me use Eugene as the baby Jesus.
Who was the baby Jesus?
Why, it was a doll.
Oh, I don't think so, Irma. That was no doll.
You're right. It did seem real.
It did seem real, as if it might have happened just that way. We all thought the pageant was supposed to be about Jesus, but that was only part of it. It was about a new baby and his mother and father, who were in a whole lot of trouble. No money, no place to go, no doctor, nobody they knew. And then, arriving from the east, just like my uncle from New Jersey, some rich friends.
For years, I thought about the wonder of Christmas and the mystery of Jesus' birth and never really understood it. But now, because of the Herdmans, it didn't seem so mysterious after all.
All this time, we had told Imogene that Christmas was about Jesus, but we didn't expect what would happen. Christmas just came over her all at once, like a case of chills and fever.
Because of the Herdmans, it was a whole new story. Imogene birthing the baby, and the wise men bringing such a sensible gift. After all, they couldn't eat frankincense. And even Gladys, he's in the barn, go and see him. So the shepherds didn't have to stumble all over the countryside. But I guess it wasn't like that for Imogene. For her, the Christmas pageant was all wonder and mystery, as if she just caught on to what Christmas was all about. When it was over, we had a party in the basement, but the Herdmans didn't stay. They didn't have any cocoa, and they didn't walk off all the cookies, and they wouldn't even take their candy canes.
Imogene did ask Miss Bradley for a set of Bible story pictures. She took out the Mary character and said it was exactly right. I think that no matter how she herself was, Imogene liked the idea of marrying the picture, all pink and white and pure looking, as if she never did anything at all except have Jesus on Christmas Eve.
But as far as I'm concerned, Mary is always going to look a lot like Imogene Herdman, sort of nervous and bewildered, but ready to clobber anyone who laid a hand on her baby. And the wise men are always going to be Leroy and his brothers, burying Ham.
you'll mistake me as a shepherd. I wouldn't mind mistaking him for a shepherd in this Christmas pageant.
Yes, you would. When it was over, some old lady came up and pinched my cheeks because she thought I was a shepherd in the play. Should I bring this ham?
That's the herdman's ham from the welfare basket, but they wouldn't take it back. Leroy said, it's a present. You don't take back a present.
They must really hate ham.
You and Alice Windlekin.
What about the lights?
They're on a timer. They'll go off at midnight.
That's not too far away. It's almost Christmas.
Almost Christmas, kids.
Almost Christmas, Charlie.
It's almost Christmas.
It came about in those days.
Then a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that a census be taken of all the inhabited earth.
And all were proceeding to register for the census, every man from his own country.
And Joseph also went up from Galilee
To the city of David, which is called Bethlehem,
Because he was of the house and family of David.
in order to register along with Mary,
who was engaged to him and was with child.
And it came about that while they were there,
The days were completed for her to give birth.
And she gave birth to her firstborn son.
and she found him in cloths,
And laid him in a manger.
because there was no room for them in the inn.
And in the same region, some shepherds stayed out in the fields.
And watching over their flocks by night, and an angel of the Lord suddenly stood before them.
And the glory of the Lord shone around them. They were terribly frightened.
and the angel said to them,
Do not be afraid, for behold, I bring good news of great joy.
For today in the city of David there has been born for you a Savior,
Who is Christ the Lord?
Prince of Peace,
King of Kings.
Lord of Lords.
And this will be a sign for you. You will find a baby wrapped in cloth and lying in a manger.
And suddenly there appeared with the angel
Multitude of heavenly hosts praising God and saying,
Glory to God in the highest.
Hey! Unto you a child is born!
And the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.